Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order, and first item will be the pledge. Flag is down that way. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need a motion to approve the minutes from August 27th. Motion's Ashley.
Second.
Second Jared, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Also, the special meeting we had September 17th, get a motion for that, please.
Motion.
Motion Sue, second Ashley. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, at this time I'll open the floor for public participation.
We do have a microphone right over there that you can stand next to and use if you'd like.
Ms. Corey?
Good evening. We would like to thank the board on their original decision to allow teachers to enforce the mask policy that ultimately keeps our students, staff, and their families safe. The CDC, New York State Education Department, and Department of Health all agree that a combination of mask wearing and social distancing are best practice for transmission prevention. On top of best practice, we have seen that it is very hard to keep socially distanced in school and are constantly met with challenges of keeping our distance. Our students have met this challenge, and there seems to be no evidence of any negative effects. We are constantly taking student safety into account and would hope that we would not lose focus of that goal. If we want to increase the chances of keeping our school open and in person, this is not the time to change any safety or mask policy. A positive case in a classroom with unmasked individuals would result in that whole class and possibly, the whole school being shut down. We have already had several area schools shut down and go remote because of positive cases. The teachers would hope that the ones who are asked to be in the building every day have some say in the health and safety of the environment in which they work. Simply stated, we thank you for continuing to uphold your previous decision allowing teachers to enforce a mask policy.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening. This is about our 2 to 3 release time. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of our staff and all of the students for the 2 to 3 hour time, which allows us to differentiate our instruction and provide an equitable education for all the students at SLCS. It is vital that this time remains in place to allow us to continue to provide a quality education here for everyone. In upholding our mission statement, our 2 to 3 work time with students will provide the necessary interaction while continuing to safeguard families with a large number of our student body choosing remote learning. It is imperative to have this time to work with our students. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I actually,
Eric?
I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank the Board of Education and Mr. Grotto for your support of the girls varsity soccer team going forward. For us in our home, it was the golden ticket and the Willy Wonka chocolate bar. It was the Polar Express golden ticket that was punched believe, because you believed in us and gave us the opportunity. With love and respect to everyone, we're very heartbroken in our house tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
in regards to the 2 to 3 release time statement. The SLTA unanimously supports the continued use of the 2 to 3 release time. We have spent 3 weeks developing routines, procedures, and best practices for working with our remote students based on this schedule. Changing this now would force us to completely change our delivery and disrupt the routines we have developed with our remote students and their families. Using this time has decreased the need for students to tune into their computers all day and allows the teachers to deliver instruction to our remote students. This change would also put undue pressure on our remote students and force them to adapt to a new educational approach. An educational approach that the teachers who actually work with the students feel is inappropriate and not best practice. The argument that students are losing an hour of instruction is not entirely accurate. With the day being shorter by 50 minutes, each class is shortened by 5 minutes. Surely a trade-off of 5 minutes a period is worth being able to meet the needs of all of our students. We would hope that any change from our current agreement would come along with some data, shared decision-making, and meaningful communication with the board. We would also ask that you seek some input from a wide-ranging group of parents, students, support staff, and teachers to see how they feel about the current schedule and not just take the recommendation of the superintendent. This is a serious decision that has major educational implications. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing no hands up, I'll close the floor to public participation. We'll move on to the rest of the meeting. Danielle, financial reports.
Warrant number 2, if there are any questions from the board.
We get a motion to approve warrant number 2 if there's no questions. Motion's Kevin.
Second.
Second, Jared. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It's carried.
The total cash receipts for the month of August was $40,555.65. Majority of the money was some monies owed from the federal for the title programs, $16,415. Our excess cost aid, which was decreased by 20%. We received $15,000 of the $19,000 that we were supposed to get. We also received the other aid that we received with the high cost aid also was cut by 20%. As far as I know at the moment, that's about the only ones that they've cut. We did not receive our allotment that we were supposed to get, which was very minimal, was $1,090. I did not see that, so I'm assuming that might be the portion that we would have gotten cut from our regular state aid from June.
Okay. Get a motion to accept the treasurer's report, please. Motion to Ashley.
Second.
Second, Jared. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I'll acknowledge budget status. Extracurricular report. Any questions on the extracurricular report? Okay. Get a motion to approve that then, please. Motion approved. Second, Ashley. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Superintendent's report.
Mr. Bruce, Mr. Mayor, I did receive the first bill for the contractors for the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
The portion so far that we have to pay them was $93,909.40. There's still $64,000 to be paid for the project. The limestone is what they have left. They're waiting for. The railings on their way. Had a meeting today. Looks like everything's on time. They're projecting hopefully by the second week in October of having the limestone here. It's being shipped as soon as it's finished. We also received today the alternate, the changes that we approved, which was some of the items that I found going around the building that needed to be addressed on some of the concrete. We had some issues in the back of the gymnasium. Some of the pillars, the concrete portions were damaged. There was also near the entrance where the students are getting onto the bus at the end of the day, the curb was damaged, so they did repair that for us. I also found a few little things near the auditorium assembly, and they did fix those and did not charge us those. They were a small corner replacement, and the bottom stairs they did fix. And also by the handicap on the opposite side, they found a few more things that I addressed and made sure that we tried to get everything done. The opposite side of the school, not from the ramp side, but on the opposite side near the auditorium, the limestone on that side was also being addressed with this alternate. We found that was also needing to be addressed. So the total came to $34,910, which still keeps us into our contingent that we had for the project.
Okay. Any idea when they're gonna finish up to get a final date?
No, because it all hinders on getting the limestone here and done. Right now, they're trying to find somebody that will come and do the small asphalt that they had to take out near our front steps. Nobody wants to come up this one, so I gave them a few suggestions of local contractors that they might try to contact and see if they would be interested in helping out, because it's just a small portion, it's about 4 feet. And so these big companies from Plattsburgh and other places don't want to come this far.
No. We're having the same problem at BOCE with stuff being, parts being missing, not being manufactured right now.
We did save our lights, so we didn't have to purchase new lights. The only thing they have to do is redo the poles, and that'll be with the railing
Right.
as it was.
You kept the same lights, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because we had replaced those when we did the building project, and they're already LED lights.
Right. Okay, thank you. That was superintendent's report.
Right, so one of the main topics of tonight's event will probably be the discussion on sports. I appreciate the fact that the board has given the girls varsity team the opportunity to practice. I appreciate the fact that you've asked us to look at numbers for modified and boys and girls soccer. So I believe we have some information for you. I thought I'd let Mr. Silvernail speak to the ensemble.
I don't think this is on. It's hard. I don't know. It's really hard to hear in the back too. So.
Just turn the switch on, probably. It's up on the side.
Even some of those, it was hard to hear. After looking at the numbers of the girls who came out to play, surveying the climate in other schools, and after meeting with Mr. Grotto, Ms. Bellinger, Coach Shaughnessy, and the school nurse, and taking into consideration all the factors associated with returning to play, we were all in agreement today not to move forward as planned with attempting to play girls soccer. Like I said, a combination of all those factors, including numbers, just doesn't provide a good situation for our girls to go out and play. And the hopes are that we'd be able to continue with all the levels at school in-house with some skill development, training, and inter-squad scrimmages, ultimately with the goal of being able to play in the spring, with everything cooperating.
And your modified numbers were very low as well.
Our modified numbers were low as well, yep. And some of the feedback on the form that we sent out to the parents was they would play now, but they would prefer to do some skill development and potentially play in the spring. So.
Any chance the modified numbers would change in the spring?
I would imagine they would. I mean, I think, let me rephrase that. I don't know. Who knows what the spring's going to look like, to be honest with you. It could be just as bad, it could be worse. So I don't know.
Okay.
I've been telling people really, And you know, I know one of the fears is this decision tonight having an effect on the rest of the sports throughout the school year. And I spoke with the board members tonight, and I said, you know, I wanted to make clear that a decision tonight doesn't have any impact on future decisions. And really, future decisions will be made upon, you know, what things look like in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or whenever the next time we have to sit down and talk about sports again. Like I said, none of us were thrilled about having to make that decision, but we all sat down today and looked at each other after looking at numbers and talking with some players that it was just in the best interest of everything.
I think the same thing needs to be followed though with all the other sports, that, you know, we talk to the parents, we talk
Sure.
to the athletes, and
Yep. Take a survey of the climate of everything.
schools and see what's going on.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but again, it doesn't automatically mean that's not going to happen.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Is it the will of the board to go along with that recommendation?
Oh, definitely.
Well, in that case, I would regretfully suggest that we rescind the appointment of our varsity girls soccer coach. We can certainly find a way to prorate her pay for
I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay.
All right. She doesn't want any pay.
I don't want to pay. I just
Okay.
want to say that these girls, they worked extremely hard the last 3 days. I'm very proud of every single one of them, and my heart is aching for them because I know physically there were some girls that just couldn't do it, and they were on the sidelines in tears because their bodies just wouldn't let them do it, and there were a variety of different things going on, from old injuries to new ones to sickness to you name it. We had a gamut of things, and we just don't have the numbers to make it to a full team that is going to be physically, mentally prepared. But I don't want any pay. I'm happy to work with these girls in the mirror, out there on the backyard, and do what we can do. So thank you ladies for your time.
We appreciate that very much. Just get them all healed up for spring, you know.
That'll be great.
And thank you to the girls who came out and gave it a shot, and hopefully we've made a decision that's best for everyone. And thank you, Mary Lou, for your dedication to the program repeatedly year after year.
Okay, we get a motion to rescind that appointment, please. Motion Sue, second Jared, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? It's carried. Not a decision we like to make, but I think in the best interest of everybody, it had to be done.
Do you wish to have perhaps at the end? We have a person who wanted to speak, but we'll wait till the public participation at the end. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the next thing was a permanent sub. I've kind of gone around and around with that. So far, our sub list is not huge, but it has been adequate so far. At this point, I don't think I want to continue to discuss the idea of a permanent sub. It's something that we might want to look at later on. At this point, I think we're good, so I'll table that item.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of where we are. The 5-week mark is coming up. We're toward the end of the 3rd week. In your packet, you will see a graph. You see that graph? And on the back side is reentry by grade. Does anyone have the graph? No one has the graph. There.
It's on the back side of
Jared's got it.
Oh, here it is.
There it is.
On the back.
So just so you know, our enrollment, if you take a look at it, over the past several years, we have been increasing regularly. We started with about just over 200 people in 2015, and we've been going up every year to this point last year where we had 280 students in attendance. Very exciting to have more students, a more vibrant student body, enough kids to field electives and sports teams, and it was very nice. And as you will see, we've dropped down back almost to exactly the spot we were 5 years ago. So we're back at this point to about 205 students. A little deceiving because many of those students who who are not on this list have gone to homeschool, and I anticipate that we'll get many of them back when times are better, if times are ever better. So I expect the number to go back up to some point. But if you look at the other side of the paper, re-entry by grade, you can see that we at this time, give or take a little bit, have 165 students in person and 40 students in remote, and 28 homeschoolers, and 23 students have left the district, and 14 new students have come to the district. So if anybody asks you how many students are attending Schroon Lake Central right now, it would be 205 students. As the end of the 5 weeks approaches, we sent out a survey again yesterday, and we said to parents, we really want you to commit or to coming back for 5 weeks, or not commit to coming back 5 weeks. And so those students and parents who wish to come back, the end of the quarter is October 9th. So we are asking parents to respond by October 2nd, and students who wish to come back will be able to attend on October 13th. And so we're curious to see how many parents want to come back. I'm sure I've already talked to a few who do, and certainly a few who don't. So we'll see how these numbers change moving forward. We should know more in a week or so. And you know, right now we have room for everybody. And when more people come back, I think we're going to have room for everybody. But it's going to take some more flexibility. I appreciate all the faculty who have moved to different rooms and who are teaching as itinerant teachers, going from room to room to room. It's been very difficult for the faculty, but they've responded very well to that. And you know, I'm glad that we're able to accommodate everyone. We are a very fortunate school. Everywhere around us, schools are having to do hybrid learning. Kids can only come to school on certain days. We're very fortunate that we're able to go full in, and we're very fortunate we're able to keep all of our electives and our specials, so kids are getting the full package because we're small enough to be able to pull that off. And we'll continue to do so as we move forward. We're going to have to do some more juggling of rooms and move people around more, but I think it's well worth it to get as many people back who want to come back. So just wanted to let you know where we were as we approach the 5-week mark.
Are we asking them to make a longer-term commitment this time, or?
No,
Or another 5
I'm
weeks.
content with 5 weeks. I think it's good. There are schools who have done 10 weeks, but I've had parents call me and say, I've changed my mind, can my kid come tomorrow? And it's been kind of hard to say, no, you can't come tomorrow. So I would not want to do more.
I've seen places where some of these hybrid models, they've actually escorted kids out with law enforcement who came on the wrong day. You know, I decided I'll come today instead of being remote.
Yeah.
You know.
We've had some of that, though. We've had kids who call in and say, well, I decided to try remote today. That's not how it's supposed to work. So, yeah.
I like the one that was on a while ago on Facebook. I think the kid's mother was homeschooling him, and he called from his room and said, I'm not coming in today, I missed the bus.
But overall, over the first 5 weeks, I would say the students who are in person are very excited to be there. They seem to be having a good time and enjoying it, and really glad to get back to some sense of normalcy. And I hope the remote learners are enjoying it as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we need a motion to approve the CSE and CPSE recommendations. Motion, Sue. Second, Kevin. Kevin, there on the end. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? That's carried. Okay, we got some appointments.
We do. We have Tony Kostecki is our chorus accompanist, has been so for, I don't know, this might be his 3rd year or 4th year. Does an awesome job. We're fortunate to have a man of his talent and experience to help us out. So I'd like to reappoint him to be our accompanist for the year.
Okay, get a motion, please. Motion, Ashley. Second, Sherry. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Carried.
Natalie Loisel has resigned from her position as extracurricular auditor. Treasurer. Extracurricular treasurer.
Get a motion to approve the resignation, please. Motion's Ashley, second Sue, all in favor? Aye. Anybody? That's carried.
You want to explain the retention schedule?
Now, are we gonna read the whole 411
I
pages?
don't, I'm trying to talk Danielle into explaining what a retention schedule is. But,
We have a 411-page document from our attorneys that basically is a state or federal requirement.
Yeah, and the strange thing is ours says, our retention schedule says ED1, and this one is a different one. And it's 411 pages long, and I went through it, and it has somewhat some of the stuff we do, but it's just talking about how long you keep certain documents.
Well-
But they're saying we should have
The problem is it covers all the municipalities, you
Correct.
know. just
hospitals,
stuff
fire
that
departments.
doesn't even apply to
Yeah,
us.
I'm not sure why would they want us to approve
As
the
long
change.
as our policy is actually more stringent than what they're asking for, I think, you know, we can sign off on this one. Get a motion to approve the retention plan, please. Motion to Ashley, second Kevin, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Unless you want to read it. Yeah.
It's long.
We need a speed reader, Rick. Okay. Okay, we've got some tenure track appointments.
yes, Mr. Brett Bernhard is certified in technology. I was remiss in not putting him on probably over the summer to become an employee on a 3-year tenure track. Brett has been tenured previously at CVS, so he goes on a 3-year track. So we're happy he has a certification, and we're very pleased with how he's doing. So I would recommend we put him on a 3-year tenure track.
Hey, get a motion to approve that, please. Motion Stu, second Ashley. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? It's carried.
I would also like to recommend Melissa Whitley for a 4-year tenure track. And again, I was remiss in not doing this when she was first hired. She should have been put on a tenure track. So this is her 3rd year. So I would like to recommend Melissa Whitley to be put on a 4-year tenure track, and this would be year 3 of her 4 years.
Motion Sue,
Second.
second Ashley. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
One abstention. That's carried.
We have a new teacher, Tabitha Gillings, and we'd like to appoint a mentor for her. So we recommend our highly experienced 3rd grade teacher, Julie Dunkley, to serve in that role.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Kevin, second Ashley. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Kevin's looking lonely down there. Okay. Get a all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That's carried.
I've given you all a copy of a memorandum of agreement between the teachers union and the district. It's the ink is still wet on that, so I didn't give it to you previously. However, it is mostly a boilerplate agreement which says that changes made this year due to coronavirus will not be considered precedent setting as we move forward to the following years. So, you know, the teachers are doing things differently, administration is doing things differently, the time in the day of school is different, many things are different. None of these things should be precedent setting. So I would encourage you to approve this memorandum of agreement.
Get a motion, please.
Motion.
Carried. Second Sue, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? It's carried.
All right, I commend the board for giving the teachers the freedom to require masks in their room. The mask policy for the district has remained consistent throughout. Masks must be worn on buses, and they must be worn in hallways, and they must be worn when social distancing is not possible. The board gave teachers the right to also require them in the room when social distancing is possible. And with the understanding that the reopening guidance says that there must be mask breaks given. And we kind of define mask breaks as the first 5 minutes of class and the last 5 minutes of class, unless a particular teacher would like to do something else. This is on the agenda because we had a few parents last week who sent some letters to the board expressing their concern over the mask policy. And so I think the board was interested in at least acknowledging these concerns. Over the past few days, I have spoken with all of the people who sent letters, and they still have concerns. But I would say, maybe some here want to speak for themselves, but I think that overall things are going pretty well. I've spoken at length with the union. Mrs. Corey, if I were to say every teacher is giving the required mask break, whether it be at the beginning and end of the period, or they have worked out a different arrangement with me, would you say that is true?
That is true. Thank you.
So at this time, I would say I'm, guardedly optimistic about the mask policy. Again, I think you made a good decision by giving the teachers that freedom, because as we know, everybody has a different opinion about coronavirus. Some are very, very worried, and some are not that worried, and everybody approaches it differently. So to have a situation where everybody has to do the same thing is difficult, but to have a situation where people don't have the freedom to make themselves safe is also difficult. I can't speak highly enough about the students. Whether they are concerned or not concerned, they are doing exactly what is being asked of them. They are very respectful. They are, I don't know, maybe it's because they're young and they're able to adapt better than old people like me, but they're doing a great job, and I think the teachers would agree they've been great. And so I would say at this time that I think our mask policy is effective.
I think one of the reasons that we did that was because of the possibility of health concerns of some of the teachers that we're not necessarily knowledgeable about, nor should we be, given the HIPAA laws. So I mean, that was one of the prime reasons that we made it an option for the teachers to do that. It wasn't an idea that, we were going to let the teachers run the policy. It was just a good faith move that teachers that had those concerns, health concerns, or their safety concerns, could ask for that. So I think that's kind of where we come down on that.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for anybody and say everybody's happy. I'm sure everybody's not happy, but I think everybody is philosophical about it, and they realize this is what is necessary for us to all move forward comfortably, and that's what we all want. We all want kids to be in school, and we all want everybody to be safe and healthy, and I think we're doing okay right now. So I'm not here to recommend any change. I'm here to just give you information.
I've heard last week that there was a few teachers that were not addressing mask breaks, as this needs to be, it's required by the state, it needs to happen. I don't completely agree with them wearing them all through the class. My personal opinion, me personally, we don't know how everybody else is feeling, how masks affect them. This whole thing irritates me. I wish we could get rid of it, Corona never happened, we were back to normal. But unfortunately we're not. We all have to make changes. We don't know how these masks, even healthy or not healthy, affect our students. Me personally, I'm getting headaches a lot more even wearing them at work. If nobody's around me, I take them down. If there's a way where we can accommodate kids that are having an issue, dropping them even for a minute or two in the middle of class on top of the additional 5-minute break, I can't tell you that it's bothering you just like you can't not bothering me. We don't know what everybody else is feeling. My opinion. Sorry.
Would you like me to address that, actually?
Please.
I would say that, with all respect to the board, we thank you for giving us that discretion to do that. But as we're all aware, the CDC has a moving target, and those things have changed since, as of August. I'm trying to keep up with the flood of information that comes out constantly, and I believe mid-August or early September, the CDC, which is over everybody, put out a statement that said that masks should be worn even when 6 feet of social distancing can be maintained. So I understand. I mean, you saw me. I was trying to read and catch my breath because I have asthma, and people know that. But it does make it difficult for us to do that. I would not say that if there is any teacher who inadvertently did not allow their student to have a mask break, it was not done intentionally. But again, we're just getting back into the swing of things.
And that's understandable, but just that reminder that it still needs to be followed.
Well, but then with the changing thing with the CDC, we need to go back and look at the new directives from that, and that the leeway that we were given is really under the law now. So it's not a matter of, here's the bottom line, and I'm speaking for my association and our students. We are happy to be back. We love our kids. I think we have students in here, and that makes our heart happy every day. I mean, there is nothing more that we love than to be with our kids and teaching. But in order to do that, we have to make it healthy for everybody. And so just like when the CDC says now you should have it equal social distancing, it's difficult in some of our classes to maintain that 6-foot space. But just like wearing a seatbelt, that's the law. You wear that. Wearing a mask, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it so that we don't have to shut this school down and go full remote. I don't understand. I understand, Ashley, with all due respect. But, I mean, it's a simple, common sense thing. I don't wear the mask to protect me. I wear the mask to protect you. Does that, I mean, and any teachers that, a lot of teachers have rolling mask breaks. I've given my kids, at the beginning, they get their 4 minutes. At the end, they get their 4 minutes if they're working quietly. I give them up to 10 minutes so that we don't get the aerosols in the classrooms. Because nobody wants school to be miserable, and my students can attest to that. And all the other teachers are doing the same. When I say that my teachers are doing it, I don't take that lightly. They have communicated that to me, and we are here for the health and safety of our students, our staff, and our whole community. We understand that some people don't have the same beliefs. That's fine. We don't have to all agree on the same thing, but this is common sense. I think everybody wears a seatbelt. I mean, I respectfully, you can disagree without being disagreeable, but I'm just saying it from the point of view of the association. Thank you for letting me make that statement.
I understand. I wasn't targeting you specifically. I'm just blanket across the board. It has been brought to our attention that there are teachers that have forgotten. This is a reminder. Mask breaks are required. They need to be done.
Right.
And if they've dropped them, I don't know how you guys allow it during the day, but again, if somebody needs a break in the middle of the day, that should be allowed. Just even to drop it for a minute. I'm not saying for the entire class, but we need to have some sort of flexibility both ways.
And I think that we do have
Yeah.
flexibility.
If they asked me to get a drink, I said,
If you
yeah.
need to go to the bathroom, sign out.
I've also had a student tell me that one day this week, 1 to 3 classes their teachers did not have them wear masks the entire period. It was the best day they had.
Well, that's not what the association has put forth, and we'll certainly address that. It might be the best day they had, but I tell you what, when we get a COVID positive case here, and we have a cluster, and we're not following CDC guidelines, that's an issue. The kids will get their breaks. They don't get the whole period. They're not supposed to have the whole period. It infringes the health and safety of everybody in that classroom. If they have their mask off for more than 10 minutes, and we get a COVID positive case in that class, everybody in that classroom has to be quarantined for 10 days.
And I understand that. But again, we need to be flexible on both sides because nobody likes these things.
No. But to say that my teachers aren't giving, that we are not giving breaks, we are. We're going above and beyond. We're doing what we can for our students. And are we human? Absolutely. And the crunch of getting back into the classroom, has somebody forgot? I'm sure. I forgot. I've told my kids, I set alarm clock reminders on my phone so So I know that it's 4 minutes to the end of the period. And I say, please, if I get busy and I forget, please raise your hand. Tell me, it's time for a mask break. And I know that each and every one of my teachers here would do the same thing. So that's thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right, let me open the floor for public participation. Heather?
Could you please state the CDC guidelines for reopening schools with desks that are in a stationary place 6 feet apart? What are the CDC guidelines?
Well, the rules that were in the reopening plan were masks must be worn when social distancing is not possible.
And social distancing is?
It is 6 feet.
So, that's, was just misstated as a changing thing that has changed since the beginning.
So you've also changed, I believe.
There was a change. August 17th, the CDC came out and said that not only in addition to wearing a mask and social distancing, it was not a wear a mask or socially distance. It is now a wear a mask and socially distance. And in a page that they updated on September 11th, it continues to say, continuing to keep 6 feet between you and yourselves, the mask is not a substitute for social distancing. So the fact that we are currently able to participate in school is a blessing. The fact that the teachers and the state have put forth the guidelines, and the board have put forth the guidelines to say masks need to come off, can be removed by the federal government not too far away based off of the CDC guidelines.
So how come so many schools in our region, when they are socially distanced, are checked on this, their masks are off? Are they breaking CDC guidelines? Are their teachers' unions breaking CDC guidelines?
Yes, they are, but we cannot be held responsible for the other schools. We are responsible for ours.
They are breaking, they are breaking CDC guidelines, Mr. Grado?
According to what the CDC.gov website says, continue to keep 6 feet distance between yourself and others. The mask is not a substitute for social distance. That's all I can tell you that they have.
Okay, that's not real clear.
I would agree, but unfortunately, it's been this way since COVID started. Nothing has been very clear.
As in a response to me, that is not a clear definite to rebut what I'm saying either. It is murky still. So, I just think that needs to be something that we all look at with common sense and understand, and not use verbiage against each other in this and making one side feel dumb or so on about it, because it is, a fact right now that, we can't do that. As far as,
And I apologize if I offended you by anything that I said.
no, you did not.
But
It's just in the way that was even said earlier was, not what is being practiced and accepted practice, because it is really very, I think to give leeway probably for less schools decide to do. So I understand that, and our school has decided to do it this way.
Would you have with you tonight an exact copy of those guidelines?
I do. I have it right here on my iPad, and I can bring it back to you if you would like to see after the meeting.
If we could hear it now, not the whole thing, just the part on masks and social distancing.
It's a very bulleted point. Avoid close contact. Outside your home, put 6 foot distance between yourself and people who don't live in your house. Remember that the same people without symptoms may be able to spread the virus. Stay at least 6 feet stay at least 6 feet, about 2 arms length from other people. Keep distancing from other people is especially important. The mask is meant to protect others. In case you are affected, everyone should wear a mask in public settings and when you're around people who don't live in your household, especially when other socially distancing measures are difficult to maintain. Masks should not be placed on those under the age of 2. Don't use N95s due to the shortage. Continue to keep 6 feet. Masks do not substitute for social distancing.
So
or 6 feet.
Do you have those with you?
I can go back and find it, but I did read it the other day.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, and we will also, we can find out, we'd like to see that, because
Fair enough.
that's certainly changed. Thank you.
And also, I think would ask that this not just be something that's for the year, but every board meeting, depending on the data in our area, depending on, it's not something that, I mean, we need to be data-driven, science-driven, and not feelings-driven, not fear-driven, not, well, I feel safer-driven. I think we need to, our kids need to know that we're going to be flexible with what is actually happening in our community.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what Beekman Town's policy is, but they've had quite a bunch of cases now.
They have shut down for a while. Mrs. Corey?
Laura?
And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Masonville. I will say that that's what we do as teachers. We look for data, we look to support this. This is not fear-driven by any stretch of the imagination. This is backed by science, this is backed by the uptick in coronavirus cases. Just recently in Elizabethtown, Locust Valley shut the school down in a proactive way. Right now, we have 200,000 deaths due to coronavirus. I don't want to be 200,001. Those are the reported deaths due to coronavirus. I mean, I'm speaking as a person who is immunocompromised. I don't want to be 200,001. And like I said before, we wear our masks to protect each other. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just, as we sit here and talk about this right now, the tiny piece that concerns me is the kids of all age groups in this. And, no offense to the teachers union, but I would like to see someone else besides the teachers union ask these questions of these high school kids. I would encourage you board members to occasionally ask some of these high school kids, how's it going? How's your day going? I try to teach my kids to respect authority, and occasionally I feel like that authority has been in a position where that's difficult to ask my kids to do that. So I would love for an opportunity for some parents to be involved in that, or the board would choose to, for a strong word, but to police that this is what's actually happening. Ask them how the day's going. I've had to wear a mask for the last couple of weeks at the mill, and I understand how it is, and my glasses fog up there, and I'm not comfortable. But I do want my kids the opportunity to learn, to sit at their desk and concentrate and do their schoolwork, and not be concerned about a mask. Now, at the end of the day, yes, if we need a mask on, that's fine. But the stories that come home and the stories that you hear in the community are concerning. And maybe they're not true. But another side of this, teachers involved, parents involved, the school board involved, where we can sit down and say, okay, has the school board gone and asked any of the high school students, one-on-one, how's it going? No offense to the school union, but I feel like they have too much in it. I feel like the board could offset that, a group from the community could offset that, or maybe we could get to a more common ground on it. Thank you.
See, at least two of our board members have kids in that school.
I was asked by something.
Why is it that we're following CDC guidelines and not following the Board of Education and the state guidelines?
Pardon me?
State guidelines say 6 feet, you don't need a mask. Why are we finding the most stringent guidelines that are out there? If they have changed, I don't know that. But why are we opting to go to a federal guideline through the CDC when the state guidelines say, as Mr. Grotto said, 6 feet, you don't need a mask? School board's a local elected board that has to follow state guidelines. I'm not sure they have to follow federal guidelines.
We have to follow all of the regulations. And now, the guidelines, I don't know, but I think the whole idea is coming down on the safety aspect and not, seeing how free we can make it.
So we don't know why
question, at the time that the opening policies were set, state guidelines matched CDC guidelines. Therefore, we adopted them as CDC guidelines because the CDC says. We never changed anything else to abide by state only because we didn't think at the time that the state was going to say one thing and the CDC say something.
My next question would be then, what, in the way of a doctor's note, what do we need to excuse a child from having to wear a mask the whole time, all day in school, with the exception of the break?
I would assume it would be a health problem, and the doctor's note, I'm sure, would suffice.
Okay.
You know, if it was asthma or, you know, some sort of breathing problem,
I don't know why.
that's just a guess, but, you know, the doctor would come up with what.
Initially, it was 6 feet. I remember watching the video, Mr. Grotto said you had to wear a mask in the hallways, on the school bus. I was agreeable with all of that. When you get to your desk and you're socially distanced, you didn't need a mask. And then that changed somewhere along the line. And we decided to find and go to the CDC guidelines instead.
It changed early on because of, as I said before, of concern. No.
No, that's not correct.
Before the union was even involved, the whole idea was that we knew we had immunocompromised teachers. We had a vague idea we did. Basically, HIPAA regulations don't allow us to say, hey, if you got a problem, if you got a problem, if you got a problem, you know, that would allow you to not wear a mask or wear a mask or whatever. So, you know, we erred on that side with the teachers being able to do that. It wasn't an idea of the teachers union could say, hey, everybody's going to wear a mask all the time. The idea was we left it up to them for health concerns and safety concerns. And, you know, Kevin can probably speak to it more than, you know.
Well, the thing is not only are we following the guidelines, but as a board, we can make up protocols, policies that we want on this, okay? We all brought it up, it was done at meetings, it was done before school started, it was sent out with your choices, whether you wanted to come in person, whether you wanted to remote teach, or whether you wanted to homeschool. So every parent here, before the teachers, every parent had a choice whether or not to do those 3 things. It's the same protocol that we sent out before school started. So whoever, you all had a choice whether or not the mask thing was already written out and was sent to everyone. So everybody had a choice to figure out what they wanted to do. And if you didn't want your kid wearing a mask the whole time, then you should have either remote schooled them or homeschooled them. Those were the choices that were put out.
The governor doesn't say that.
The governor doesn't matter, because these are the rules that we made here as a board.
Can I say, I remember the board meeting when it was told, you know, the 6 feet, or the masks in the bus, and the CDC guidelines, but when they were socially distanced, and I believe Jerry issued that said, that we should leave it up to the teachers if they're compromised and feel for their health, then they could require it, and there was no questions asked. I'm not sure that how it happened then, that there was a solidarity among all the teachers. I went back through the meetings, and I don't remember the board getting the teachers union the approval to make a solidarity decision that they would all hold to the same rule. I don't believe the board gave the teachers union that right. I think the board gave it that it would be up, if the teachers asked the students to do that, that was up to an individual teacher for their health reasons. And then somehow, and after our board meeting, the last time, I wrote a letter to the president of the teachers union. We discussed it one-on-one. I asked for an answer. I didn't get an answer. The day before school started, I asked, and I said, I believe we have a right to a public school education in person without the teachers union going above and beyond the state guidelines And it's not for us to say, if we don't like what the teachers union decided, we'll stay remote and have less of an experience for our daughter in the public school. But it's for the teachers to go back from their excess of requirement from the state guidelines and become reasonable again with the state guidelines. It's not for us to have to decide something different. This is a public school. The rights for a public school education in person are for all people. The access, the teachers union win after that board meeting where it was given if individual teachers felt compromised because of their own health. It then somehow, and I did not find it in the board, giving it the teachers union the right to do that solidarity across the board. So Anna, in her classes almost all day with 3 to 5 students, she still has to wear a mask, and we have to lay down our grades on the table and go along with it because of the solidarity in excess of state CDC guidelines. We have the right to a public school education in person. No one can take that away in America yet.
Agreed. With that being said, I don't think that, I disagree that there's a solidarity. And there may be amongst the higher grades, but I've got a child in 4th grade who tells me daily I can take my mask off when I want to and my teacher doesn't complain. I've got a child in 5th grade who says the same thing. I've got a friend who has one in 6th grade who has said the same thing. Now, with the comment that was made, have I talked to the seniors? I will be honest, no, I have not. And if it is happening that breaks are not being provided, then that definitely needs to be addressed. And I do feel that between Ashley's comment and the comment from the Teachers Association that it will be addressed. But at the same time, there are no guidelines for the number of breaks or the length of breaks by New York State, other than breaks should be provided. So we as a board could say, we're going to give you a 1-minute break per class. And according to state policy, that passes. We have opted 5 at the end, 5 at the beginning, and the 3 in between for a 13-minute break inside, correct me if I'm wrong, a 38-minute class?
33 at this point.
So 33 minutes, and you're getting, yeah, you've got your mask on for 23 minutes. Do I like the masks? No. But can you wear them for 23 minutes before a break? Most people can. Again, if you can't, for any reason at all, please consult your doctor and provide a doctor's note, and the board and the district, and I think the teachers would be understanding about that.
Just to clarify, I did change it to 4 minutes instead of 5 while we're doing 33-minute classes. When we go back, if we go back to longer ones, we'll probably go back to 5 minutes. I'd just like to refocus this on one really important thing, and that is that we have 165 students who are coming to school every day, and they are making it through. And I'm not saying everybody's happy, but the students are doing their thing, and this is a difficult problem. You can see why our country is so difficult to agree on things when you look at a issue like this where everybody is so polarized. But everybody is so polarized because they care about kids and because they care about health. And you know, I didn't come here tonight to ask for a change. I came here to say that people are feeling safe enough to be here. And to me, that's the most important thing. We can get our faculty here feeling safe enough to be here, and we can get our students, the majority of them here, safe enough to be here. I'm happy that we are doing as well as we are. And I thank everybody for making it work.
Ms. Gordon.
I would like to say that CDC guidelines aren't nonsense, that's what was required by CDC. And I want to thank you, Mr. Grotto, for your support of the mask statement. And I really want to address something to the students that was posted by one of our former students, an excellent student, a member of the class of 2002. She now teaches in Maryland, and I believe President Murdoch, you know her quite well. This is just for putting
teacher you just quoted is remote until January.
So sweetie, what you might want to help is if you could get a doctor's note to say that. I mean, you know, in my classroom, I have a couple students here that when you guys have mask breaks, I don't take mine off to protect. I don't think that you. I just do it out of an abundance of caution. And if that is something that's troubling, then please get something from your physician so that you don't have to do that. I mean, you know, I'm just saying that we're following CDC guidelines, and you know how much we all treasure and love our students. And you knew that. And when I said, you know, just go home and have a conversation with your parents. You guys have been amazing. Girls have been an extraordinary support to our school district in the 20 years that I've been here. And we do recognize that, and we appreciate that. And again, I don't want personal differences to become just differences of opinion to become personal, because that's not what this is. This is following the mandate that will keep everybody safe and ultimately keep us in school as long as we can. We don't want to be like Bocat Valley and go to completely remote. We want to be there every day. We want to see your faces. I can tell you're smiling behind your mask, and I can certainly see your smiles when they're off during your mask breaks. And we all can. So I didn't mean, I just meant just have conversations. Let them know the good things that are going on. And I know that our community by and large does appreciate our faculty. We do know that. Thank you, sweetheart.
I would just like to say one more thing, and that is, one of my children has gone to the doctor and has been told that she does not need to wear a mask for her health. And at least twice this last week, she's been questioned about that by a teacher who's an adult that has no right to even ask her that, because she has a note from the doctor that she does not have to wear a mask. And twice in this last week, she's been questioned about that and belittled about it. By the teachers union.
No, not by the teachers union.
By a teacher.
Right, but not by the teachers union, Mr. Pelkey.
By a teacher.
Right, thank you for that clarification. We are not here to belittle anyone. We're here to build people up and to make our students as successful as they possibly can be. And if there's an issue with a teacher, then you need to take it up with administration. I'm not in charge of that. That's our superintendent's job. I mean, I'm not aware of what goes on in everybody's classroom.
Well, he's aware of it, so I hope by tomorrow you will get rid of it.
I am aware of it at this point, yes. So thank you.
Dave, has it been the same teacher?
What's that?
Has it been the same teacher? If it was the same teacher, there's a problem. If it's different teachers, they may not all know yet. I'd like to think that
They don't still have a mask on.
I would like to think that we can get this addressed tomorrow, hopefully, Mr. Grotto.
It has been addressed
Okay, has been addressed.
with one teacher.
Okay, I'm going to close the floor to public participation. We're going to have to adjourn this meeting for an executive session, which is going to be held at the library.
Yes, library is a great idea.
Okay, so we get a motion to
Motion.
adjourn and go into executive